Ever feel like you're just not a creative person, like some people are born with a magical spark of genius, and you weren't? What if I told you that this entire idea of the lone, divinely inspired genius is actually a pretty new invention, and that for most of human history, creativity was seen as something completely different? Stick around, because we're about to unravel the surprising, and frankly, much more empowering history of modern creativity. For thousands of years, nobody thought humans were creative. Not in the way we think of it, anyway. The ancient Greeks and Romans believed creativity was a divine gift, literally. They called it inspiration, which means to breathe into. A poet didn't write a poem, a spirit, a muse, breathed it into them. The artist was just a vessel, a channel for a power from beyond. Think about it, Homer doesn't start the Odyssey by saying, "Hey, check out this cool story I made up." He says, "Sing in me, muse, and through me tell the story." He's literally asking for divine dictation. This wasn't modesty, it was the accepted truth. Creativity wasn't something you had, it was something that happened to you. This idea dominated Western thought for centuries. Throughout the Middle Ages, the ultimate creator was God. Humans could imitate God's creation. We could be skilled artisans, craftsmen, builders of magnificent cathedrals, but the spark of originality, that was reserved for the divine. To claim you created something entirely new, from your own mind, would have been seen as incredibly arrogant, even blasphemous. You were just a pair of hands, executing a divine plan or a traditional form. The focus was on skill and faithful reproduction, not on groundbreaking personal expression. So when did everything change? When did we go from being passive channels to being the rock star geniuses of our own ideas? We have to fast forward to the Renaissance. This was a period of massive cultural and intellectual upheaval. Suddenly, the focus shifted from God to us. Humanism placed humanity at the center of the universe. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo weren't just seen as skilled craftsmen anymore. They were celebrated as divine in their own right. Geniuses whose intellect and skill could rival nature itself. This was a huge shift. For the first time, individuals were being credited with a special kind of intellectual and spiritual power. We started to see the birth of the artist's genius, a unique individual blessed with extraordinary talent. But even then, the old ideas lingered. The divine was still part of the equation, even if it was now seen as working through a gifted individual. The real revolution, the one that created the idea of creativity we wrestle with today, happened during the Enlightenment in the 18th century. This was the age of reason. Thinkers were obsessed with logic, science, and the power of the individual human mind. The divine explanation for creativity started to feel unscientific, outdated. Philosophers began to argue that creativity wasn't a message from the gods, but a product of the human mind itself. It was about imagination, about combining existing ideas in new and original ways. This was radical. Creativity was officially brought down from the heavens and placed right inside our own heads. It became a psychological faculty, something we all possessed, at least in theory. But this new freedom came with a price. If creativity wasn't from a divine source, then where did it come from? And if you didn't have it, whose fault was that? This is where the pressure started. The 19th century Romantic movement took the Enlightenment's idea and cranked it up to 11. The Romantics worshipped originality, emotion, and the tortured genius. The ideal artist was now a suffering soul, misunderstood by society, who channeled their immense pain and passion into groundbreaking works of art. Think of poets like Lord Byron or composers like Beethoven. Their genius was seen as an innate, almost mystical quality tied to their unique personality and suffering. This is the stereotype that still haunts us, the idea that true creativity requires angst, isolation, and a special, almost magical, personal quality. It's no longer a gift from the gods, but an inborn trait. You either have it, or you don't. And that brings us to the 20th and 21st centuries. We inherited this messy combination of ideas. We still idolize the lone genius, the Steve Jobs in his garage, the singular visionary. But at the same time, psychology and neuroscience have demystified creativity even further. We now understand it as a cognitive process. It's about divergent thinking, making connections, persistence, and collaboration. It's a skill, not a magical trait. Businesses run workshops on design thinking, and schools try to teach creativity. We know, scientifically, that creativity is a muscle that can be trained. So we're caught in a paradox. Our culture sells us the myth of the born creative genius, which makes many of us feel inadequate, but the history and the science tell a different, more hopeful story. Creativity isn't a lightning bolt from a muse. It isn't a genetic lottery ticket you either won or lost at birth. For most of history, it was seen as channeling something larger than yourself. Then, it became a celebration of human intellect. And now, we understand it as a process, a practice, a way of thinking that is accessible to everyone. So, what's the takeaway? The next time you feel that pressure, that little voice telling you you're not creative, remember that this idea is a historical invention, and a relatively new one at that. The pressure to be a completely original genius is a modern burden. The older, and perhaps wiser, view saw creativity as a form of connecting with the divine, with tradition, or with the world around you. Today, we know it's about connecting ideas. So forget about being a genius. Forget about waiting for inspiration to strike. Just start connecting. Combine two old ideas. Ask a weird question. Try something you're not good at. Because the true history of creativity isn't about a few special people. It's about the incredible, evolving, and universal power of the human mind to make something new. And that power belongs to all of us. Thank you so much for watching. If this video changed the way you think about your own creative potential, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the ideas that shape our world. See you next time.